In this video, we're going to start with a Maclaurin series that we know to find a Maclaurin series for a function that we don't know it for. Alright, so in this case, our function is x minus sine of x over x cubed if x is not 0, and 1/6 if x is 0, and we're being asked to find a Maclaurin series for this function. Alright, so looking at that function, the thing that we do know a Maclaurin series for is sine of x. So sine of x is the sum from n equals 0 to infinity, negative 1 to the n, x to the 2n plus 1 over 2n plus 1 factorial. Now notice that we want to do x minus this. So I'm going to compute the first term here, and notice that if we plug in 0 for n, this will be 1, this will be x, and this will be 1 in the denominator. So we get an x term, and then the series starts at 1. All right, so now if I do x minus sine of x, I'm doing x minus this thing. Well, the x's cancel, and we'll have a minus sign out in front of the series that we were left with. And then I can pull that negative sign in with the negative 1 to the n, just to make it look a little prettier. And make it a negative 1 to the n plus 1. Finally, now we divide by x cubed. When we divide by x cubed, our exponent becomes 2n minus 2. So we'll have 2n plus 1 minus a 3. This series starts at 1. This looks a little suspect that you might not really have a power series because it may look like you have negative exponents. So just to be sure, let's re-index so we start at 0. If we're going to drop the index starting point at 0, we need to put n plus 1 everywhere that we see n. This would become n plus 2, but doing negative 1 to the n plus 2 is the same thing as doing negative 1 to the n, because negative 1 squared is just 1 if you break up the product, break up over the exponent there. Plugging in n plus 1 here, we would have 2n plus 2 minus 2, just leaves us with 2n, and then over 2n plus 3 factorial. And notice now if you plug in 0 for n, you really do get x to the 0 here, so you're not getting any x to a negative exponent. Also notice that when you put in 0 for n, you really do get 1/6. This is 1. This is 1 by convention. Remember that 0 to the 0 is 1. And when we put a 0 here, we get 3 factorial, which is 6, which is exactly the value that we want for f of x.